This is Vickie Spray, founder of EvolveTalk.com. So glad you're with us today. My hope and my goal is to attract a discerning spiritual and social audience to EvolveTalk.com so that I can connect you to our local healers, our guides, our teachers, young and old. And today we have Marlee Head. You're 15 or going to be about 15?
I'm 15 now.
Yeah, recently, right?
Yeah, just this October. So, a couple months in.
Well, so one of the things that I know about you already is that you are a writer.
I am.
And have been writing for quite some time.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, but like early on you started wanting to be a writer.
Yeah, I guess I remember probably earliest memories around 5 or 6 and playing with my stuffed animals or friends or dolls or whatever I was doing, and then thinking up stories about them, and then eventually at some point it occurred to me to write them down, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. And you have like journals and just stacks of paper in your corner, or well, actually probably everything you have is probably in a computer.
Yeah, most of what I have is on a computer, but I do write poetry freehand sometimes in a journal or on paper, depending on where I am, what my situation is.
Okay, wonderful. I've just got a couple questions I want to talk to you about, and just get what your brain on what you're thinking about writing, and what you're part of what you do in this world and why you want to do it. So just the first question would be, what would you like the world to know about writing?
I think mostly just that it can be a healing thing, but also it can be a fun thing. I think especially for teens and young adults, it's kind of geared as something that you have to do for school, and that is something that you just need to know. And I think it's good to think outside the box and to look at it as something that can be a tool that you might want to use, something that you would enjoy doing, and not just, I need to write an essay for school today. And
so you do it for fun and healing.
I do.
And when you say healing, what do you mean?
I think when I have thoughts and feelings and emotions, especially that I don't fully understand in my head and in my heart, and I just need a way to get them out, and there's not always people I can talk to, and sometimes it's easier to just write exactly what I'm feeling, or write whatever comes to mind, whatever feels right, and that is a healing thing to me.
Because you're going inside trying to figure yourself out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. And you played with your dolls and your animals, your stuffed animals as a kid, and which is storytelling, which is what writing is, right? Creating stories. But when did you actually start writing?
I don't remember exactly when I started. Right about when I actually physically knew how to write, when I knew my alphabet, when my words, and I started just kind of writing stuff out in crayon on pieces of paper and getting the stories out. And then as I knew more about writing, and as I got more knowledge, and as I liked it more and explored different forms, then I started writing more and writing different kinds, writing poetry and prose. And
would you share your writing?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like with your schoolmates or your mom and dad?
Yeah,
friends?
my parents know a lot about my writing, and they are extremely supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. But as far as friends go, it's kind of something that I don't really advertise, but I would be perfectly willing to share it with them if they so desired, if it came up, and I definitely want to share it to the world, and
that's what communicators do, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have to share it.
Oh, absolutely. That is
it's just too big to stay inside, right?
Yeah, it's always been my goal.
So what do you think about today's young adult fiction?
Oh boy. Yeah, that's kind of a nerve for me right now, because all of my life, as much as I've been a writer, I've been a reader. And those two are very closely linked for me. And I think a lot of today's young adult fiction is a little bit, I'm just going to say small-minded, and I think there tends to be these big trends, fantasy and post-apocalyptic, and vampires are really big right now. And I'm not going to say all of, because there are some really good young adult books out there right now, but the majority of them tend to follow these themes. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's refreshing and nice to have an original book out there, and those can be hard to find sometimes.
Well, so when you say excuse me, original, you're meaning something that goes beneath the surface of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, so because if you write for healing in part, then you're going to want there to be a story that assists people in that and their
Yes.
healing. Yeah, that makes
Yes,
sense.
absolutely.
Instead of just being entertained.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with just healing, but for me, it's best to get a combination of both. And
Yes.
especially, I feel like sometimes writers who have a very strong message throw that message out there, like, kind of in your face, like, I'm here, listen to me. But that kind of annoys me as well. I think it needs to be a little bit more subtle to get
Subtle,
the
right.
message across even more.
Right, subtlety. See, if you already know about subtlety, I have no doubt we're going to see some good writing out there from you. And I look
Thank
forward
you.
to that. And I read some of your stuff, and you've got talent, Marlee.
Oh, thank you.
And so if you were to say something to the writers out there, the people who want to write and haven't given themselves permission and are too afraid, what would you say to them? How would you help them?
I think the best advice is just to do it and not to pay attention to the people that tell you you can't. And it can be scary. It was never particularly frightening for me because I just did it.
Right.
But I know that it is scary to think that you can do it, I think there are a lot of messages out there that say you can't, or you have to be at this point in your life and you have to have done this first. And I think that those are incorrect.
Right.
And also, you don't have to have huge goals. You don't have to be publishing novels, and you don't have to do it a lot. You can write just for yourself. And that can be important too. And it doesn't have to be your job. It doesn't have to be your goal in life is to be a novelist. But I think just doing things for yourself and doing what makes you happy is very, very important.
Beautiful. Sounds like you're saying, if you have a desire to write, then write.
Yes. What is holding you back? It's something for you that you do.
And do you have an interest in teaching writing?
Possibly. I don't know. Not now. I think that is something I would want to wait until I'm older and I've learned more, because right now my writing is mostly just stuff that I get by instinct, stuff that I think I know about, stuff that I like.
Right.
But I think for that I would have need to get not just more experience, but also more knowledge about writing. I feel like right now I don't know much, but I'm learning.
Right.
But I would like to be a little bit more established in that before I actually impart that knowledge to other people.
One of the things that it's so obvious about you is not only could you impart technique in writing, but emotionally support them. Emotionally remind them that if they have a desire to write, then write.
Yeah.
And not to hold back. Teachers, those are the best teachers. They have the technical understanding, they have the knowledge, but they also have the emotional caring to assist somebody in their weakness and their blocks.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's obvious to me, if you were writing, that maybe you may not have had huge blocks, but you have had things that you've had to overcome in order to write.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you believed in yourself enough to do it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And, you just have to trust that when you have a block like that, then first of all, it's there.
Yes.
So it is there. You have to acknowledge it, but that you can trust that there will be a way around it when you're ready to get around it.
Wow.
So to use the block.
Wow.
And to wait for the ideas. But also, I guess it's kind of a fine line between waiting for the ideas to come to you, but then also pursuing the ideas themselves.
Right.
You can't just...
Right.
It's both. You can't do one or the other.
They're not going to come to you. Well, maybe they will come to you, the ideas, but you've got to do something with them.
Yes, I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at in a roundabout way.
Yeah, well, you did. Do you have any interest in writing for TV or web TV or maybe?
Possibly, kind of. I think I've had a few ideas, but I think there are other somewhat more important things that I want, at least for me, at least in this point in my life, that I want to go after. It might be something down the road, but I have other passions that kind of have to come first before I get there. But
All
we'll
right.
see.
Like what?
Like writing writing poetry, writing short stories, I'm trying to get a novel finished.
Are you?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
How far along are you?
I'd say somewhere around halfway-ish.
Okay.
I've actually already finished one, but it needs a lot of work, and it's a very, very rough short draft, so I'm kind of putting that on the back burner. But the thing that I'm working on now is about halfway done-ish, and I'm at a bit of a block now, actually, but I'm working on the block. So.
You allow that block to move you forward.
Yes.
So when you say halfway finished, for people who don't know what halfway-ish means, are you saying halfway because you kind of know how the story's going to end, or are you using word count?
It's how I think it'll end. I know how I want it to end. I know that there's a couple things that want to happen in between where it is now and the ending, but I just have to get between where I am, what I want to happen, and then the ending. So there's some gray areas there that I have to fill in.
Oh, those little details.
Oh, yeah. The little things.
But you trust the process.
I do.
And you trust yourself to find a way around and through the blocks.
Oh, yeah.
You trust yourself that if you just keep on sitting down, that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is.
That's a really, really big deal. Do you have friends that you write with, or are you a lone wolf in your writing?
Kind of both. I do have one friend that I write with sometimes. We're actually kind of hoping to get a poetry book for small children done. I want to write the poetry, and she's an amazing artist.
Oh,
and
wow.
so we're going through and writing an alphabet book. There's one poem, or actually a couple poems per letter.
Wow.
And then she does the artwork, and it's just beautiful. But it's a very slow work in progress because of busy schedules. But we have hope for it. But for the most part, I am kind of on my own. But there are some projects and some things I do like doing with other people.
Okay. So, wow, to have the ability to be a lone wolf and get some writing down on paper, and to also be a collaborator, I mean, that's a combination it's pretty amazing. I mean, that's to have that help from somebody else, and you to give them that help makes you believe in your own writing. It's just like this whoop-de-doop of support.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, I am so glad that you are in this world, and that you are 15 years old, and that you are honoring your writing, and that you're allowing yourself to be who you came here to become. That's one of the reasons that EvolveTalk exists, is because of people like you. So thank you for being who you are. And you have been on EvolveTalk. You've got videos out there. You're going to do maybe one or two maybe for EvolveTalk.
Yeah.
And so the world's going to get to keep seeing you grow.
I hope so.
I do
I
too.
sincerely hope so.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining EvolveTalk.com. We love Tallahassee. We love the surrounding area. We love humans. And those who are trying to move beyond our small selves, we celebrate here. Thanks again. Come back. Bye.